tonight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horrornightoasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host, Ian. Ian, are you there?
Barely.
Barely. I'm right there with you. Man, February has come and gone, and for some reason, it turned into public domain month. Besides our review of Hard Eyes, we've discussed a lot of films relegated to being public domain now. And again, these months come and go like that, and we never know what we're going to do next. And this one just showed up, and it was a trip, I'll tell you that much. And we're probably not even done. We'll probably still throw another one here and there whenever they're released. There's so many more coming out, it's crazy. Especially from this director too. This one, he has 2 more in the books. He has Hook, which is another Peter Pan movie, and then he has a Houseboat Massacre or Steamboat Massacre, Mouseboat Massacre. There it is. Which is his another Mickey film. And man, these directors and these public domain films are they're just churning them out, and like they're not even really worrying about continuity at this point.
Nope.
And it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough.
I'm curious of who's going to be in the next movies. I bet maybe Tigger. Maybe Tigger's going to pop up in the other movie, or I don't know, like maybe Owl. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because they're just capitalizing on the fact that Winnie the Pooh did so well, and I got thoughts and feelings about that.
Yeah, but I guess we'll go ahead and get into this with our film for tonight. It's Piglet. We have the Piglet standalone movie, which I mean, honestly, I don't even know if you would even consider this a standalone movie. I mean, it's the same mask as it was used in Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. Like Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, Pooh mask was used in Mouseboat Horror. So this is another instance of like, there's like this weird meta universe in film. Is like just all over the place. Like you don't know what goes to what franchise, where like I said earlier, the continuity is just deafening, and it just does not make a lick of sense, and especially this one. This one, I mean, it's okay, but still, like when you... Okay, let's get into it before we get into all the minor details. So the film starts out with our Piglet. Apparently he's tied up in the back of a security police van. And these 2 police officers are guarding him. He's chained up, tied up to the wall, bag over his head, and he gets loose. He just hand comes out. They're talking about him and his lore, I suppose, the backstory about this particular rendition of Piglet. Um, it's hard to keep them all situated now. Um, you have Blood and Honey, where it's an actual thing, but then in Blood and Honey 2, it's a film, and then there's an actual Piglet, and then now this one is a mutated, medical experimented serial killer, and he dons a pig mask, the same as in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. But anyway, Piglet gets loose. He goes back to his homestead, where he has his kill room, and he finds a pig mask, puts it on, and then we're introduced to a variety of characters, but there's only two in particular that's worth noting, and that is Susie and Kate. Both, I believe, they're sisters, and Kate is celebrating her 21st birthday. So Susie got this, I wouldn't say cabin, but this place in the middle of the woods. Rented it for the an a friends weekend, all girls weekend. Even though later on there's a guy that's involved, that's a part of their group, but it's boyfriend girlfriend. And so they're all coming there, and then it is owned by Mr. Hogarth, and he is, in a sense, him and Piglet are a thing, which we'll get into when we start discussing spoilers. And so, again, they're all going there. They're just go have a party. There's a hot tub, as there always is. That
Right?
copy and paste mentality of these films. There has to be a hot tub scene. Even the first Winnie the Pooh had a hot tub scene. Popeye had a hot tub scene. I mean, luckily, Mouse of Horrors didn't have a hot tub scene.
See, that's where it went wrong.
Yeah. But there was a shark, so that whatever. Not digress. So they're all just going there, and Piglet's just stalking them for a while, and every now and then he attacks one or two. And that's the gist of the movie. There's really not much of a plot. And it just kind of just goes on for 82 minutes of kind of being a boring slasher film, with not really much depth. The characters are one-dimensional and forgettable. The dialogue is null and void. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. And then there's all these intricacies of the characters, like the sister who and her boyfriend. The sister's also in Popeye's Revenge, and she dies the exact same way in the beginning of Popeye's Revenge as she does here by having sex with her boyfriend. And then Piglet, instead of Popeye, it's Piglet coming to kill her, and her boyfriend Bruce. And then they introduce this segment with her sister, and she always wears these headphones, and she's drawing, and she always draws for a specific 30 minutes to an hour to draw something, and she's looking out into the woods, and then she's drawing these trees, but then when she gets the another person comes along and looks at the notepad, it's Piglet. But then again, this whole intricacy of her drawing, you think it's going to come into fruition later, it doesn't really. It's just it's just a plot device for that character that doesn't really need to be there. But I guess it's some diversity. I don't know. But all the characters are just there. You have a sort of a lesbian couple that does the hot tub stuff later on in the film, and then another sort of side character that gets introduced very later on into the film. It's just not very good. And they don't, and like I said, it's just you're trying to figure out where does this go into the realm of the films. It's its own thing, even though it's the same mask from the first Winnie the Pooh film, which we know is a film based off Winnie the Pooh 2. So it's just one of those where it's again, but it doesn't follow Winnie the Pooh, the film of Winnie the Pooh, the liberties of Piglet in that film, where it's actually a creature in the woods in 10-acre wood, 100-acre wood, and like it's actually a monster. They did that with Pooh and Mouse of Horrors. This is talking like this is making someone a crazy person. trying to get all this out there.
Yeah.
It's like
That's why I said I'm barely here.
yeah, and just like trying to make sense of these public domain horror films and like trying to make them make sense and where they fall in line. It's just, again, we're giving it too much deep conversation for, again, we're going to bring this up for films that don't need deep conversation. They're just
Exactly.
They're popcorn. They're just like cheapies to make. That's literally what half of them are. They're just a lot of copy and paste shit. But this one, man, just like it didn't really do much. It wasn't terrible. It had like sort of the build up to like Kill Her Goats, where like all these ladies go to this house and then like there's this creature goat man that's after them, and then they introduced another subplot later on, which is the exact same subplot of another film that not that many people seen, called Squeal, which is another film about a half pig man that wants to do something. Which is, again, the subplot for Piglet and this one's the exact same subplot for Mouse of Horrors, but at least they're not like piecing them together. It's literally procreation, But I don't know, man. I was bored half of it. I mean, some of the effects were okay, but there's just like not much, man. It's just like the story just like did not draw me in. I mean, at least Popeye kind of drew me in because it was just sort of ridiculous in that nature, and it was just like a Hatchet ripoff. This one was just it tried to be sort of Texas Chainsaw with Piglet a little bit, but it just wasn't handled properly. And
Not
like
at
it was,
all.
and it could have been like, I'm sure someone's gonna have fun with it. It's stupid. I mean, don't get me wrong, but like there's
You
just
just watched too many of these.
Yeah, they just kind of the same stuff over and over. You see all the little copy and paste scenarios that they do, and all the same characters, all the same movie. Every single one of them comes back into these films. Some of them playing the same character. Like the girlfriend and this one and Popeye getting killed off. And I don't know, man. I just wasn't the biggest fan of this one as I was with all the
neither
other
was
ones. Like again, like there was a little bit of wiggle room with Popeye, just because of how stupid it was. Well, not really how stupid. I'm thinking Mouse of Horrors. That one was stupid, and ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like this one, like Popeye, like it was just interesting to see, Popeye, and that kind of like what he did in that film and everything. It wasn't to a T of what we kind of wanted, what we kind of hoped could have happened. And again, we talked about that in the review of Popeye. This one is just plain Jane to the nth degree. And it just doesn't really stand out, It just like part of me like kind of felt like Louise's Pigman, but like at least they tried, like they did like
go
all over the place with like how Pigman turned out, but this one is like sort of like how I felt like that one would have turned out, like Pig Monster doing its thing, and like again like being related character wise and stuff like that. So it wasn't just technically it was a dude in the mask with Pigman and Piglet, but still there's a little bit more of what I kind of wanted in Pigman than I got with Piglet. But it's still like, I don't know, it just didn't really scratch that itch of what I kind of hoped. I mean, again, I don't know what I'm hoping for anymore with these public domain movies, but I'm just expecting a little bit more care put into them instead of just throwing shit at the wall, where like again like they're not even really worried or caring about their characters they're using anymore. Don't make it, all this lore. You're just like getting confused about which character is what. Like we'll get into spoilers, but Ian, I'll let you discuss your thoughts and then we'll go back and forth.
I absolutely hate what they're doing with the Winnie the Pooh horror movie characters. Absolutely hate it. I think it's a bastardization of what they were originally doing. I feel like it's like what's even the point anymore? Like they're just throwing these characters around like and just like, oh, this character now is a person in a mask who's deformed. Oh, this is just a random psychopath wearing a mask. Like I was like, why? What is the point
It's
in
been
it? Like,
experimented on,
yeah, like, oh, I create, they both like, they were all created and now, and like, I'm kind of worried about the third Winnie the Pooh movie.
Well, I think
And
that's in better hands, honestly. I do.
yeah, but I'm just like, they're just throwing these characters. I get it. They're rehashing some stuff, but like, I would have been okay with, this movie doing that if it wasn't for the fact this movie was so boring.
Yeah.
Like, if they would have made it at least somewhat interesting, I would have been okay. Like, at least with Popeye, like, they didn't try to bring back some random fucking character just to throw it up, and because they ran out of ideas. At least they tried a little bit more with Popeye, but the Mouse of Horrors was it was just completely unnecessary to have Winnie the Pooh in there. And I will stand by that forever. Like, it was just out of place. It made no sense. And I was just like, give it at least repurpose it in a different way. Piglet just made me mad because like the character design was almost the exact same. So it would lead you to believe this is a standalone film. But when you watch it, you're like, oh no, it's not. This is like a bait and switch movie. Like I felt like I was being lied to about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, I was led to believe that this movie was just going to be about Piglet and his little murderous Avengers. And like maybe we get a little bit more backstory of like what changed Piglet into who Piglet is. Like we kind of got more into Winnie the Pooh, but like all the other ones, we only got hints at. And I was like, okay, Piglet had a big role in the second movie, so maybe we're going to learn more about him. Nope. It's a serial killer in a mask. And I was just like, I felt really betrayed by that. Like, I felt like this was literally just a cash grab to capitalize off of the success of Blood and Honey. And that just, I don't know, it just really kind of bothers me when people do that kind of shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like being lied to.
No, and it like the synopsis kind of sets that up. Like you get the his murderous background and everything, and like again, like you're trying to figure out and piece this together. Like, so is this you're thinking like, so it's a continuation of like again the first Blood and Honey, where it's the film within the the franchise of this public domain stuff, where we know the first one's an actual movie. So it's like in that universe where like again Blood and Honey, technically Mouse of Horrors is a sequel to Blood and Honey because Pooh's in it, even though Pooh is a creature in Blood and Honey, but he's, an actual bear in Blood and Honey. But then in like Mouse of Horrors, he's a mutated, whatever. It's in that world apparently. And like again, I was thinking maybe that was sort of going to be the case with Piglet. It's going to be in like that world. But no, like it's just, I mean, hell, it might be. I don't know. if you could tell me where this correlates with the franchise, I'd be glad to know that information. But it's just a mutated, medically experimented on serial killer that has super strength, I guess, and he finds the old pig mask, and it doesn't say that he's deformed or anything. I don't even think they mentioned that. He just like was experimented on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Was he a part of that doctor's? Was he like that doctor from the Mouse of Horrors? Did
That's
that
what I
doctor
was
work on
thinking.
him, and then like he get caught? So maybe it's a continuation of that. They don't really bring it up.
Yeah, no, I was very confused. That's what I was
Again,
sitting there thinking about.
yeah. So again, it could be that. I have no idea. But it just goes on into this whole again backwoods stuff, Texas Chainsaw stuff. And again, we're gonna probably go into spoilers from this point out. But like again, like the whole idea is for Piglet to procreate and continue on the family lineage, and
Yeah.
they want to do that with Kate on her 21st birthday. And again, I don't mind that subplot. Again, that was the subplot for Squeal in a sense, but not on a birthday. But I don't know, man. Just like the gore wasn't even that good in this one. There were some okay moments, but it's just like not as like it's just again using a scythe, not a scythe, but a sickle and chains and just like attacking people. Um, I mean, like they should have done like more with. I mean, again, there's like no like we would talk about like side characters and stuff, but like there's none of that because they just come along, become fodder, and like get stabbed to death in a sense or killed off. So there's like really no central characters besides the sisters, the Susie and Kate. There
Yeah.
is another character that comes along, which is a guy, which I don't know, I forgot his name, but he's the one who comes up with the shotgun, and he's like helping the sisters, and of course the sisters turn on him because oh my god, you're a creep, you're spying on us, how dare you? I just saved your life. Oh, how dare you? um, but like he's like a hunter in the woods, and he's heard the rumblings of the stories surrounding the house and the stuff like that. But like Mr. Hogarth and Piglet, and there's another character barely comes in at the very last second, where they're all related, and they just want to continue the bloodline. And that's the
Yeah.
central point of the film, main focus of the last act of the film. Um, but again, like I said, it's just kind of just meandering. Even if there is a lot, again, like no side plot, no side characters. It's just again death. Piglet killing people or someone getting shot. Sometimes, but it's just like it's just not that intriguing, and it's just not that enthralling. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. Like the other ones, as zany as they were, especially Mouse of Horrors and Popeye, and at least they were sort of like they pulled you in because they were just out there. Like what is going on? Like this one is just it's just dull
Yeah.
and boring. And there's not much really heart to it, like a little bit of pop, there's some charm to Popeye, even though it was just like a Hatchet Friday the 13th clone. There's a little bit of charm to it. This one is just like there's really not much to Piglet, and like they could have gave him a little bit more of like reasonings, for what he is, instead of just like rumblings. Like I said, like we don't know this rendition of Piglet. We don't know if he's the continuation of the doctor medically experimenting on him from Mouse of Horrors, or if he's like, I mean, obviously he's not Blood and Honey 1 Piglet. So we know that, even though it's the exact same fucking Piglet, the same mask and same getup. I mean, maybe they switched out his clothes, but it's the exact same mask as the first Blood and Honey. But yeah, like this one, just like there's really not much to it. I mean, like I said, it's like not really a fun. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's okay, but it's just like not as fun or enjoyable as the other public domain ones that we've reviewed this month. Um, and it's just like it's just average to
Yeah.
me, and it just felt like again like something you would find on Tubi. You know, it's like Hog Mall. Well, Hog Mall you can't find on Tubi. It's just like it's like trying to be one of those pork chop ripoff films.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
wish I could say like I like the character design, but I already said that when we saw him in the first movie. So
yeah,
it's whatever. Like I just want to say like that scene where the girl is drawing and then they're like, "Oh, well, she's going to be there for a couple hours just drawing." Like, "Okay, let's fuck." Behind her.
yeah,
I was like, "What the I was like, "What the hell is going on?" They're like, "Oh, well, hey, she's going to be there for a minute. Let's just get it on."
yeah. Like hey, we might
And
not have
then
any time later.
yeah, and then like those girls were like so one dimensional. All the girls in this movie were one dimensional,
Yeah,
except for like Kate. She's the only one that had like a semi interesting backstory, and like they brought like they kept bringing it up and bringing it up, and didn't do anything with it.
yeah,
And I was just like, what was the point in that? Like I was like, you know, I just it just made no sense.
yeah. The whole film just was like, what was the point?
Yeah, the random CGI, like when the guy was hitting his that one dude's head, or Piglet was hitting that dude's head up against those posts, and it
Yeah,
would like he would put his head down, and then like CGI blood would squirt, and it wasn't even in sync. It was squirt, pap, squirt, and I was like, okay. I was like, this was random, and
I
like,
mean, I'll take that. I watched I watched another movie called The Horror Within, and it just has a girl just going through a glass door, and like not she just the glass went everywhere. So I'll take a little poop here with blood over something so terribly done as that one with The Horror
yeah.
Within moving through the glass door.
Well, the kills. Oh, hit my mic. The kills were just kind of boring. Like
Yeah,
like there was no heart to it. Like the acting was terrible as it was getting done. Like you could tell like they weren't actually hitting the people. I just was like, okay. I was like, the the kills were boring. The story was boring. Nothing
characters
happens.
are boring. Yeah,
Yeah, like oh, we're gonna there's a sex scene while this girl who's obviously autistic is drawing and with headphones on, and then you're like it seems like she might be like the person Piglet chooses or something. Nope.
no, she's random
Just
fodder. Who cares?
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that like they were setting it up to make it seem like there was an actually one interesting character, and then they just kill her off. And
yeah,
then you had the two lesbians and that one creepy dude um was staring at them while they were making out. I don't even remember their names.
no.
Uh then they die. And it was just like, okay.
Well, she gets
Like,
killed in the shower. Like, oh, I got out of the jacuzzi. I'm gonna go get in the shower, and
yeah.
then he gets into the house and just stabs her.
Like and then like yeah, the way you could tell that he wasn't even hitting her with the axe. Like
Yeah,
that I was just like, okay. And then like they're all such bad actors. Some of the dialogue, like I had subtitles on. I always watch movies with subtitles because my wife likes it, and now it's just become a common fixture. And like, I actually had to rewind a couple of times because I'm like, did I hear that right? And it's like, I should.
Uh-oh. We there?
Yeah, what happened?
Slight technical difficulties is what happened. Oh, but go on, Ian, with what you were saying.
Holy crap. Like nothing happened on my end. It just went, everything went black on the little screen. Okay. Cool. Yeah, no, what I was saying, just everything just happened so fast. We didn't get a chance to get to know anybody, even though they talked so goddamn much. I was like,
Yeah.
for a movie that spent a big chunk of its time just talking, they didn't do anything to actually develop the characters. And
Yeah, there's like no, like I said, it's just very one-dimensional. There's nothing. As soon as like maybe there was some development, Piglet came and killed him off. And like,
yeah,
well, here we are back at 1.
yeah, and that's why like the only character I remember their name was Kate, because they said it so many fucking times.
And it was her birthday.
Yeah, no, and then I don't know. It was just weird setups with no payoff, random things, killing off people right before they even have a chance to be somewhat memorable, other than like, it's like the girl that fucks her boyfriend right behind the autistic girl's back when she was drawing. Like, the only thing I remember, oh, she has nice tits. I don't know anything about her, but hey, she obviously likes to boink in the woods when she is
Or in a
bored.
shed.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay. I was like, this was unnecessary, but whatever.
Yeah. You gotta get your tits in these
Yeah.
films, man.
And I was like, okay, at least we got one. And then the hot tub scene, lesbians making out. And then terrible acting. Honestly, like the best acting in the film was the sex scene and the making out scene. I was like, that's the best acting we got. I was like, okay. I was like, at least they're into this.
Yeah.
I was like, but all their lines were delivered completely flat. The one guy like kept getting crazy eyes, and then like he would say things like the way he would say some sentences was just off. Like it wasn't grammatically correct. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know if that was on purpose or if like he messed up and nobody caught it. Oh, and I know what it was. He said, "We done." That's what it was. He was talking. He was like that. He was saying that he was, done with everything, so he was just gonna leave. But he just said, "Me done. I leave." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Okay." That was where I knew. I was like, "I'm not gonna get anything of quality of this film."
No. Okay, they really didn't set it up. I guess it's supposed to be, that backwoods talk, but
I don't even
I mean,
know.
honestly, it didn't really feel like they were like that hick type of character. It's just like, backwoods type. But I guess they were. But yeah, like I don't know how much more there is because there's not really much to talk about. It's just not out of all the public domain ones. This one is definitely the more egregious. Where there's just like no, I wouldn't say no planning, but not really much of a thought put into actually making this work within the realm of the other public domain films. So this one's sort of again, just the bottom end of everything, because again, I liked Popeye, better than this, and I like the random zaniness of Mouse of Horrors over this one. Even though this one is, again, your straightforward serial killer in a pig mask stalking, slashing people, but again, like everything else was just sort of just, again, not well thought out. The characters were one dimensional. The conversations didn't lead to nowhere. And once finally something of semblance came along, Piglet came along and killed him. You think he'd continue on like certain characters, but no. As soon as they're gone, even the guy that's like, "I'm coming to help you," and then like they just degrade him for like his rest of his screen time until Piglet comes along, and bashes his head in. The story of Piglet and wanting to continue on, that subplot, was fine, but again, they could have done a little bit more with it, made it a little bit more, I don't know, like nastier, because there needed to be some edge or something there with Piglet to make him like this like degenerate type character, instead of just a serial killer in a mask. If you wanted to have him, continue on and procreate with Kate, they needed to have some kind of, it just felt like, oh, Piglet's got to fuck, like we gotta, they don't even talk about it like he's like the run of the litter or anything. If he's like the youngest of I guess he is, or the cop was, I don't know, but like it just felt like we gotta get Piglet laid, we gotta. They needed to keep that as the running factor of the film. They needed to do something where like every time he comes along and kills someone, like maybe he was like Popeye, like he felt up the chick in the beginning of that one, like, or the not, in the hot tub, like giving some kind of nasty, aspect to his character instead of just like he has eyes and they open up when he gets knocked out and they're all red. They need to have some kind of a more oomph about his character instead of just being, stabby. That's all he was. He was just sitting there stab people, and it didn't really do anything for him. He didn't stand out, and that's kind of the thing. Like they didn't really do much with him. And again, like you could have done an okay amount. I mean, as much as you could for a Piglet movie, but again, the continuity and like all that is really what kind of dampers the film, because you don't know where this continuity of this Piglet version is at. So I guess just to ease my mind, he's the continuation of Mouse of Horrors. That's just me, because that makes the most sense. Where he's the medically examined serial killer that. So
yeah,
he goes around wearing a mask. So again, he must have got loose or escaped beforehand or after or something, or before. Again, I don't know when it falls into place of Mouse of Horrors, but it makes the most sense to his character, to that rendition of Piglet. So I'm assuming, again, in the realm of everything, in the grand scheme of things, in my mind, it makes it go sort of smoothly. So it does, even though it's the exact same mask as Blood and Honey, but again, they kind of done that with Mouse of Horrors with Pooh. So again, I don't know. Who cares, honestly? That's the big thing to
right.
take away. Like, who the fuck cares?
I mean, both. Yeah. Like, I know there's more movies coming, and after this, I don't know if I want to watch them anymore, because like it's like, I'm just like, oh, are we going to get, another pointless cameo from a character from a different movie? Is Popeye going to pop up in the Mickey Mouse movie with the boat, or not? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, only time will tell.
He's a
Because again,
ghost,
this
so who
character,
knows?
Yeah, this director is, as I said earlier, he has Hook, which is again another Peter Pan movie, and then Mouseboat Massacre, which again I can only assume what's going to happen on Mouseboat Massacre, but but if there's any, I mean, hopefully they're a little bit better than this, but I don't know. I don't have again like these public domain ones are slowly starting to drag in the waters, and it's just ugh. Like there's some that's okay that I can handle. Like this one, like again, it's not egregious. It's not something that's like you can put on like, oh my god, that's terrible. I mean, it's fine for what it's trying to do, but like the grand scheme of things, and just like the continuity, the characters, the non-existent plot, um, it wasn't very good. It's just like and this is going to be the more forgettable of the public domain movies because again, there's no character development, there's no plot, there's hardly anything. The kills aren't anything spectacular, even though there is a little bit of practical gore. But like Piglet doesn't stand out,
Yeah.
and like the whole wanting a bride or continue it's like that was more zany and Mouse of Horrors because it's so fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It was almost
And I'm gonna
that's what I was
remember.
thinking. I was like, that's almost the exact same plot as Mouse of Horrors, because they were trying to find the perfect bride, or well, create the perfect bride, like Frankenhooker style. So
Yeah. But yeah,
I'd
there's
rather
not
watch
really too
Frankenhooker.
much to this one, and like I said, I'm sure. I mean, it's. I mean, even as a slasher film, it's not really the greatest, but it's. I mean, there's another sort of like Slaughterhouse on the Hill was sort of like this, whereas like, but I don't want to go too much. Again, when I go rambling off other movies, it just continues and continues on, so I don't really want to do that. But it's like, I don't know, it just wasn't very good, and it's at least there's a spectacle when it comes to that curiosity factor of Popeye, and of course, like Mouse of Horrors, where you're curious about it. This one, like, there's really not that much of a curiosity factor now that I've watched it. Like, I really don't like with Popeye, like, yeah, it's fucking Popeye, it's kind of stupid, but like, there's something there to watch out of it. Like this one, this is like, have you seen Pork Chop films, Texas Chainsaw Massacre? It's the exact same thing, but like without the procreation going on. But I don't know, Ian. Is there anything left before we call this a
No,
show?
I was just like, I don't think there's anything left
No,
because this movie doesn't deserve this much attention.
no, it doesn't. This no. There's a reason this one actually showed up on Tubi.
Yeah,
Mouse of Horrors did, but like this one was like a straight to Tubi. Like
right.
Popeye wasn't straight to Tubi. That was
Yeah,
like,
probably because they were like, oh shit, this movie isn't a direct line to Blood and Honey. So let's just
yeah,
put it on Tubi where
yeah,
somebody will watch it, and that's probably going to be the only way anyone will watch it.
yeah. I mean, Mouse of Horrors was a Tubi original.
Yeah,
Well, not exactly, a Tubi original, but it was straight to Tubi. But still, like, at least again, we discussed that enough. I mean, there's some fun to be had with Mouse of Horrors. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it a show with our review of Piglet, the mess that it was, and slowly degrading our brains. But Ian,
yeah,
as always, I wouldn't have it any other way discussing these films with you. Hopefully, come March, we can be free of some public domain stuff for a while because for some reason the public domain stuff like takes precedent over everything, and I like
yeah,
to kind of branch away from that for a while. Try to throw them maybe in a random boneyard or something. Who knows? I mean, we do these shows with whatever we feel makes for a good show. And again, this random public domain month with the hard eyes tossed in, it's just like, oh, did you see the monkey? No, we saw Piglet. That's our that's
I
how we
do want
do
to see
things.
that movie.
I know. Maybe we'll just we'll do an audible and do monkey next week.
Yeah.
But as always, I wouldn't have it any other way with you. I appreciate everyone for listening, and we will see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.
Good night.